This is Ron Higgins with the Shreveport-Bossier and TheRonHiggins.com. I'm here in the press box at Davis Wade Stadium, which emptied out a lot at halftime as the second half progressed because the home team, frankly, was awful. And LSU played a tremendous football game. LSU won this game 41-14. I'm sure every LSU fan who was here never left the stadium until every final point was counted for. This was LSU's best game of the year on both sides of the ball. The focus was tremendous. They came to play. They came to play, folks. Jaden Daniels had his best game ever as an LSU Tiger. 30 of 34 for 361, 2 touchdowns. I have to keep looking at my computer. I'll explain why in a second. 64 yards rushing on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns. It was his best day because he made good decisions all day. He checked down when he needed to check down. His throws were on the money. His touchdown passes to Malik Neighbors were just absolute dimes. I mean, just dropped them in. 26-yard touchdown and 33-yard touchdown to Neighbors in the first half. Both of them, State was dumb enough to play press coverage on Malik Neighbors, and Malik just kind of left them behind with a couple of moves, and they were done. He had basically, Malik had a perfect game. 13 catches on 13 targets, 239 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was that dominant. I mean, other people caught the ball. Brian Thomas 7 for 60 yards. Offensively, LSU was on the money. I mean, they just really were. They aside from the first series of the game was strange. They had a false start to start the thing and a false start to end it. The false start that ended it really hurt. Will Campbell false started. It nullified Logan Diggs' touchdown, and LSU kicked the field goal. Ramos kicked the field goal, and it's 3-0. And I mean, at that point, the State fans were ecstatic that they held LSU to a field goal. Well, LSU just started beating on Mississippi State's offense. LSU's defense just took apart Mississippi State's offense. It's a sad, sad sight to see. If I'm a Mississippi State fan today, I'm really thinking hard about coming to a game the rest of the year if I got to watch this. You know, God bless Zach Arnett, first-year head coach, defensive coordinator last year, hired after Mike Leach tragically died. Zach decided to force-feed a whole new offense to Mississippi State, saying, you know, I don't care if it be recruited guys to play Mike Leach's system of throwing the ball almost every down, the air raid. We're going to try offensive balance and try to run the ball more and not, throw when we need to throw or whatever. It's just awful. It's painful to watch it, and it was painful for State fans. I mean, here's a guy like Will Rogers, who's a senior who's thrown for 9 million yards in his career. I mean, he's been the reason Mississippi State's had winning season is Will Rogers. And this year, today, he's 11 of 28 for 103 and no touchdowns and no interceptions. Under pressure all day from LSU's defense. LSU's defense was so into this game, despite missing several starters. They missed Omar Speights. He was hurt; he couldn't play. They lost Greg Brooks to a medical emergency before the game, and we don't know what that is. Brian Kelly wouldn't, really explain. I guess privacy laws kept him from doing it. Wouldn't explain. Said his thoughts and prayers were great. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's appendix or what. When something like that happened, you just think it's something that's got to be done right away. But we'll know sooner or later. They were without him. And man, the people stepped in were fantastic. Wes Weeks, freshman linebacker, he was fun to watch. He flew all over the place. Just flew all over the place. You couldn't block him. He had eight tackles, 2 solo, one quarterback hurry. And finally, I guess the thing that was the most fun to watch all day was the return of Harold Parkins Jr. in his role, as I say, his role as the Tasmanian Devil, just whirling all over the place and just leaving destruction in his path. Is the Harold Parkins we called him, came to know and love last year when he took apart Arkansas last year. I mean, LSU plays Arkansas next week. I'm sure Arkansas is going to look at this LSU game film and look at today's game and go, Oh, Jesus. God, Harold Perkins, he woke up. They put him back in the right place. Golly, no. Because Harold Perkins took apart Arkansas last year. So I think he was defensive player of the week in the nation in that game. Bunch of sacks, bunch of tackles. Personally destroyed Arkansas. In a game that Arkansas could have won. I think it was a 13-10 LSU win. And KJ Jefferson didn't play that game for Arkansas. He was hurt. Jay Daniels didn't have a great game offensively. LSU, I think that was the post-Alabama fallout, hangover. LSU was lucky to get a win, but they got Arkansas next week. But enough of that. We'll get to that in a second. This was a really good focused win for LSU all the way through. Brian Kelly kind of thinks of all the details here. For instance, LSU stayed, like they always do when it comes to Mississippi State, they try to stay, away from the game. They stayed in Tupelo, which is about a little over an hour from here. And they had 11 o'clock morning kickoff, which means you had to really get up really early and get out of there. So on the way here, about 20 minutes in the stadium in West Point, Brian Kelly already had the idea, thought about it this past week. We're going to pull into this car dealership called Cannon Motors, which is, by the way, the relation to Billy Cannon, but it was a good omen, Billy Cannon, Cannon Motors. Pulled in there for like a 10-minute stretch, did some substitution drills or whatever, and got back on the bus and came to the stadium. And Kelly felt it accomplished a purpose. I mean, there were lights. I didn't want the guys to fall asleep on the bus on the way in. I wanted them wide awake and ready to go. And after that, they were, it was 20 more minutes of the stadium from where they were after they stretched. They were wide awake. And so I'm thinking, let's see, of car dealerships outside of Oxford and Columbia, Missouri, and Tuscaloosa. Beware, LSU may use you for 10 minutes to stretch before a game. Coaches do crazy, bizarre things, but they always have a method to their madness, and this time it worked. But LSU was great out the gate in this game, and you knew at halftime. Well, LSU got the ball starting the second half. Mississippi State kicked off and received and didn't do anything with it. LSU scored the first 3 times they had the ball in the second half. Field goal, touchdown. That was it. They were done. Again, if you're an LSU fan, you're pleased with this win. I'm just a little bit shocked that Mississippi State's not better than they are. I expected more, but it's just watching Will Rogers try to run this offense, and it just doesn't fit what they're doing. I know they have to bite the bullet sometime if the Scout wants to use this offense, but they're going to lose a lot of fans this year along the way. They keep playing this bad and watching this stuff because it's just I feel bad for Will Rogers. That kid's been a great quarterback all his career, but today he looked neutered. Sorry, Will, use that word neutered, but you did. Part of it was having to play that scheme, and a lot of it was LSU's just really their defense trying to prove a point. Saying I think this whole team, as Kelly said late in his press conference, they want to prove a point that they want people to know who they really are. And that they really are talented, and they're not that team that got outscored 31-7 in the second half against Florida State. They're coming out swinging now, and next week they're going to have another tough one. It's in Tiger Stadium, 6 o'clock, Arkansas. Arkansas always plays LSU tough, it seems like, most of the time. KJ Jefferson was supposed to be healthy. The quarterback didn't play last year. This is a great game, kind of a quarterback showdown of guys with 2 similar styles, Jaden Daniels and KJ Jefferson. So that'll be a headliner. That'll be 6 o'clock next week in Tiger Stadium on ESPN again. And so I got a long drive to Baton Rouge, and I'm out of here. But it was well worth the drive. For once, I'm sure the LSU fans. It's nothing like the LSU fans feeling good, like when they spend their money, they go on the road, hotel, gas, airplane, whatever, and they get to a game and they watch their team stink it up. I can think of the Wisconsin game with Les Miles and his first game that was last year before he got fired. How bad they played and how just infuriated LSU fans were for they won, wasted money on that trip, first time in Lambeau Field, historic, legendary, blah blah blah. And LSU comes out looks like dog pooping, and that's the first step of Les getting fired. So, but today LSU came to play. The fans were happy. They went home happy. They're driving home happy, and I'm going to drive home and just get home and live to write another week. So this is Ron Higgins with Shreveport-Bossier Journal and theronhiggins.com. Don't forget that, where you can track my predictions against my dog Skippy the Wonder Dog. It's on there. It's also on Facebook. So we'll see you next week after LSU's Arkansas game.